Hi everybody, I'm Jeff with Virginia Paranormal Investigations, and tonight we are heading out into the woods at an undisclosed location in Spotsylvania, Virginia, where there are several Native American burial mounds, and the residents who have lived in this house, the several past residents, have had a string of bad luck, if you will, some bad things that happened, and they're wondering if it's related to this ground, this sacred ground, being disturbed. We went out here a little earlier during the day to check it out and to see what it looked like, and now in the dark of night we're going to go out, we're going to do an investigation and see if we can pick up any responses. So we're in the side-by-side and we're going to take this down the muddy trail to get out there to these burial mounds. Here we go.
So you've probably done this before.
What's that?
Been in a side-by-side?
No.
No?
I never have.
He's the only one that's a hunter out of all of us, so I thought maybe he might have.
No, we drove trucks.
Oh, okay.
Remember this? And ATVs.
This is where it gets good. Down here somewhere. Right there. That's the trailhead.
There it is.
This has image stabilization.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'll say these woods are looking pretty dark.
They are.
I mean, beyond the glow of the headlights, there's nothing.
Right. Yeah, you can see there's absolutely no light out there. It's just pitch black. Man, I would be out here all the time if I owned one of these.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even at night like this, I'd be out riding around all the time. And this is the second little gully here. Could very well be the creek. I think this is it.
This is it right here.
Yep.
It's really, really dark. Yeah, you look out, I can only see this tree that's in front of us, and that's it. Like, it's so dark. The stars are brighter than what you see around us right now.
Exactly.
Is this better if I hold
Yeah,
this way?
yeah.
Hey, there we go. It's crazy how dark it is. It's been a long time since I've been in dark woods like this. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
There we go.
Let's venture on down the path here.
All right.
Or of what there is of a path.
We go straight out to the right, is that correct?
Yep.
Because when we came up here, we came up from the side.
Yeah, we'll start seeing the mounds
Yeah.
right at the beginning here. Here's one.
Here's the first one. This is one of the ones that have been disturbed.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
It is.
So what we're going to do is we're going to stop at this first burial mound here before we actually enter the area too far. And we brought with us an offering. This is a bag that the homeowner gave us filled with tobacco. And we're giving this tobacco as an offering. We're entering your area with good intentions. And we hope that you'll be willing to talk to us and to tell us if there's anything you want us to know, anything we can do to help you, anything we can do to help preserve your land, or to let people know that you want this land to remain protected. So here's tobacco that we're leaving for you. So right over here we can see there's another burial mound. Okay. If we go down here and veer to the left. It's going to take us over to where the majority of them were. And then we'll have to cross the creek to get to those few that were on the other side.
Are you sure you don't need to be in the lead?
I could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Right here.
They're all through here. They just dot this entire landscape, this entire area surrounding this small creek. And it's really kind of strange. We almost wondered, because the client said that one of them is on the other side toward the front of his home, we almost wondered if maybe there were burial mounds through this entire area when they came to build the house here. They could have cleared some of them off of the land, and who knows what's buried out here. But it's dark and creepy, and your eyes kind of play tricks on you, and you think you see something moving in the shadows, and it's going to be intense.
So we're going to start right here. And the reason is we can see the remnants of the burial mound around the outside here. And this is perhaps the most disturbed grave site. We feel that might be a good place to start with the spirit box session. See if we can pick up any audible responses.
We have a tobacco pipe that I brought from my house. I figured we would bring something of significance for the people here to be able to talk with us about and to be able to interact with. So right now, anyone that's here, I have this tobacco pipe. I place this on your rock. We come as friends. We only bring peace. We want to know, is there anyone here with us?
Is that the temperature dropping?
I thought I turned the temperature off.
Evidently not.
I suddenly feel like we're being watched. Like, that's no joke. Like, I heard something over there. Did you hear that? Like,
No, I didn't hear anything, but I definitely feel
But it
that
was over in that
like we're
direction.
being watched.
I got chills. Yeah, I've definitely been hearing some things. Ever since we've been out here, I've been hearing things over in this direction. To me, it sounded like children. And then just then when you were over there with that, over in that direction, it sounded like a man.
Okay, you want to start with that spirit box?
Sure.
The scary thing is about having that spirit box going is you can't hear any natural sounds that are in the woods
No.
because it's so loud, you know.
I didn't feel uneasy until now. I was fine until now. Earlier, just walking in the woods in the dark with you guys, but now I feel like we're being watched by more than one person.
I think they're just curious as to what we're doing here.
Well, we got the proximity detector going on.
Yeah, we did.
So if you're here with us, could you speak with us, please? Tell us your name and your language. My name is Tanya.
I'm Jeff,
I'm
Will.
Linda.
and we're not here to impose by any means. We don't mean to trespass on your land. Of course, we brought an offering of tobacco. We're just here to find out if there's anyone that wants to talk to us and tell us about this land. We're trying to find out some information about your people. Who are you? What tribe are you with?
No.
Nobody?
Nobody. None.
Nobody.
Or no
Tribe.
huh?
No
Are you
tribe.
from the settlers that were here?
We saw this grave was disturbed, and that of course really bothers us. We're sorry. We apologize for whoever did this.
If it is a grave, we're not even sure that these are graves. Did you bury your dead here?
Are there others here with you that would like to speak out? We'd like to hear what you might have to say.
Heard something off to my right.
Was there sickness here?
That keeps going off.
Did someone cause you harm?
There were some interesting things that happened while we were standing here near this grave site. And one thing, the REM pod, the proximity detector kept going off as if something was coming near it. But we couldn't get it to give us responses through that. It would just be at random where the green light would come on as if something was coming in the proximity range. Now, what was interesting...
You hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. It's like something moved out there.
Is there anyone out there?
We come in peace.
Great. Thank you.
We mean you no harm. We're friends.
It's not me setting it off, because right
No.
here, can't set it off. So, exactly what I was talking about. The proximity detector on that keeps sounding. There was one audible response that we pretty clearly heard coming through the spirit box. It sounded like it said no or no one. But other than that, there were a few things that came through that we're definitely going to have to review. I thought one sounded like it said behind you, but I'm standing a little farther away from it. You heard something sound a little bit different.
Whoa. Back over on that right side.
Did you see something or
No,
hear something?
Heard something
Yeah.
audibly. It sounded like a.
It was a strange noise.
I got chills. It sounded like a woman. Like
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly, yeah.
We're right.
Ah.
I just got chills on my arms.
That's interesting. Still got the recorder going?
Uh-huh.
So is that a woman that's trying to come near us right now?
Now, female voices are what bobcats can sound like.
Right,
So I would also keep an eye out for that.
yeah,
That's true.
They do sound like women.
yes.
And he did say there were quite a few bobcats out in this area.
I don't like that.
Bobcats?
I don't like the idea of some big giant cat roaming around here.
Yeah.
That's
the small
kinda-
cats are bad enough.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
But luckily, they don't roam in groups.
Ah,
I don't think they do.
Right.
I don't think.
hopefully
I'm
not.
not an expert.
But a single bobcat is bad enough.
Yeah.
Across the stream, there are
It got
What-
really quiet.
what the resident thought was initially one burial mound that was kind of, he thought it was an outcast maybe because it was over there by itself. And it's facing east, where all these burial mounds, the majority of them are on this slope facing west. Well, when we went over there today, we found there were actually more over there. But the difference was with those ones, it's all quartz surrounding these burial mounds. All the stones on the burial mounds are actually quartz.
You had heard that a minute ago. Was that a dog?
Sounded like a dog.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What could be the significance with that being all quartz? And we wonder, there's often spiritual energy that's associated with quartz. Could this be something to keep some kind of a spirit in, or to keep a spirit out, Or could it be something to help whoever is buried there to generate their spirit, to cast their spirit? So it'll be interesting to go over there with the energy that quartz is known to give off and see if there's any responses.
So one of the things that is relevant to this is when I was reading online and trying to figure out what these mounds could be. The Scotch Irish called them cairns, Cairns. Now, they do say that a lot of these are created by farmers that would clear out the fields of all of the rocks, and they would just sort of dump them randomly. But the presence of the one quartz rock on top of many of these mounds of surrounding sandstone, and the presence of all of these quartz rocks over certain graves is very significant. That's exactly what they have found in certain areas like Rhode Island and Connecticut up in the New England states. But in this article, they called the one quartz rock on top of the pile a doorway. In particular, they called it a doorway. So that leads me to believe that perhaps they set this one quartz rock on there to act as a sort of doorway for the spirit to sort of come and go, or to at least escape from the body after it was buried.
So right here is an example of one that does have the
This is
quartz
small too.
on top. That's like the main headstone,
Yeah, the
and it's
quartz
surrounded
rock.
by.
Yeah, sandstone, he said. The quartz rock is fairly small compared to some of the other ones, though. A lot of the other graves we found that had a quartz rock on top of it, still, the quartz rock was very large. So this is very small one. I wonder what the significance is.
Here's a very big mound. Look at this one. See if you can light that up with the lantern. Get a good look at it.
Watch this big old white stick right here. Okay.
Wow. This is big. Look at that.
Big giant branch in the way. This could be something different.
It's a lot more rocks than some of the other ones.
Well, it is a lot more rocks, but if you notice, see, some of these rocks are cut. See how flat?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these look like they could be, like, hewn by man. This one here, the large one in the front here, on the back side of it, it's very flat. And it's also very flat on the underneath side of it, which makes me think that it's maybe some sort of a foundation stone.
Whoa. Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, because I step on this branch and look at that. That moves.
Oh,
Yeah.
But this rock in particular, that one right there is
Very flat.
interesting. Let me see that one.
This one.
Yeah. Yeah, like, look at this thing.
Yeah, this is almost like rocks that would have been used to build a house or a wall,
I know.
perhaps. And if this was all farmland at one point, maybe there was a rock wall that went around it.
It could have been. They did say that whenever there's burial mounds that are found like this in groupings in the in New England, they oftentimes had rock walls built nearby. So it very well could be that some of these are remains of a rock wall.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do over here is locate where these burial mounds are
Your gloves are so.
across the stream. And we walked over where we crossed earlier today. We're not finding them though, and there were quite a few over here. So I'm just going to try these dowsing rods, which have given us luck in the past. And I'm going to see if we can point to the direction of the burial mounds. Okay, they're typically used to cross and expand for yes or no questions. Can you tell me which direction I can go to find the quartz burial mounds?
I'll move out of the way.
Back to the left.
Pointing that way. So let's see what happens here. We'll know for sure if these things work or not, because I have no idea where these mounds are. I mean, I thought they were down that way.
Right.
So if they are indeed back that way, these things are working. If not, something's either misleading us or they're simply not working. But let's see what we can find out.
Either way, it's not good. So we wandered around for quite a while over on the other side of the stream, and unfortunately the dowsing rods did not lead us exactly to the quartz burial mounds that we were looking for. I think we were really close to them. We just kept wandering around and couldn't find them. So we're back on the other side of the stream, where we know the burial mounds are, that have, like this one behind me, that has all of the sandstone, that we believe is sandstone, all over them. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to try the Gansfeld method. And if you're not familiar with that, that is a sensory deprivation sort of experiment. And we're going to put on the blindfold and put on the headphones with white noise pumping into it. And just stand here for a little while and see exactly what happens.
We have the tobacco pipe again. I'm going to go ahead and place this on top of the mound while she does her experiment. My name is Will. I bring you tobacco. We come in peace. We only want to speak with you.
This is going to be so screwed up.
We want to communicate with you.
All right. Linda, can you hear me? Linda, can you hear me? Okay. She cannot hear.
Okay, look, I think I need to,
Don't go anywhere.
I need to lean on something.
Uh-huh.
Right here. Okay.
All right. Linda, can you hear me? Tanya, wave your hand in front of her face just to see if she sees any shadows. Okay. Where are you right now? Are you anywhere near us? Can you tell Linda if you're okay with us being here? Could you tell us the name of somebody that's buried on this land? I'm going to take out the REM pod without Linda knowing. And I'm going to set the REM pod up. That way she won't at all be biased into thinking that something may come near it. So I'm going to set this down here.
Oh, I heard something that way. Like over your right shoulder. Sound like a man's voice. There we go. I heard it again.
There's
Oh, I heard.
somebody's right here.
She's pointing to the direction.
Somebody's standing right over there.
She's pointing to the direction that you
And
were.
there's this constant sound of almost like rushing water
She's pointing to the direction
above
that you
and
were.
beyond the,
Yeah.
sound of the white noise. She's right.
Who are you? Why are you here? I want to make sure Linda can actually see you. And she's not generating this from her mind. Can you walk over to my left side? Can you stand next to me here? Can you walk around to my left and tell Linda that you are standing to my left side?
Whoever that was over here just moved around this way.
Notice she was pointing to my left side.
And I just want to clarify that she cannot hear us at all.
Right.
I've done that before. You cannot hear anything.
Can you tell me your name?
I feel like I'm standing in a rain, like it's raining on me. It's almost like I feel the drops hitting me as well.
What was this land used for? We want a confirmation. We want confirmation that this is
I'm sensing something up behind me,
burial ground.
behind and to my left.
What do you look like? Tell Linda what you look like. Give her a clear image of yourself. We want to know your appearance. If you can reveal it to Linda, she can describe it to us. How many are here on this land? I can hear the fan from here. So you know it's pretty loud. How many are here? I heard, could have just been normal wind blowing, but something moving to the left here. Is there anything that you want us to tell the settlers?
I'm seeing the slope of a hill, a gentle slope, going sort of up and to the right, and it's really green. Like there's grass all over the slope, but there's still a couple of trees growing up out of it. There's no underbrush, but there's people moving through there, walking along this slope. They're not settlers.
I don't want to ask any
They're
questions.
definitely natives.
I don't want to ask any questions related to the slope because that's it, obviously what she's envisioning right now. So I want to wait till she gives this description and then take her somewhere else with the questioning to see if she follows. Why are you still here on this land? Is there something on this land that you want? Or is this just your
I still
sacred
hear
ground?
that sound like rushing water. It might be the stream.
This land Obviously is a stream between two slopes. Tell me, please, the quartz stone, the special stone that you use on these mounds, what does it mean? What is the significance of it?
It doesn't make sense. There's explosions in this village, this native village. Doesn't make sense. It's like they're being attacked. People are running, screaming. Like a child stumbles and a woman stops to grab the child up off the ground. And just as she gets the child up on the ground, she gets hit by a bullet. That hits her in the side of the head here.
Is this woman buried on this land? Where is this woman buried? Where is her spirit?
Now there's smoke. Lots of smoke rising up from this village. People crying.
There's a lot of stars out tonight.
The sky is really blue beyond the smoke. They move. They decide to get up and move their village.
As you were saying about the village and asking questions.
Yeah, when she starts describing something like that, like the village, I don't want to keep asking questions about the village because that doesn't show any significance as far as her. I mean, she's already talking about the village, so obviously she's probably going to keep talking about it. So if I ask questions, it's just kind of playing into it. That's why I try to take her away with the questions by asking the importance of the quartz. Because if she's talking about a village one moment and then the next moment she's coming out with the answer to my question, it's clear that she's definitely getting that message from me,
I think the
or
quartz
they're giving
piles
her.
are for the elders.
I did just ask about the quartz a little bit before that. Now I was
Yeah.
just talking about how I bring her away with those questions. And now she started talking about the quartz.
How could she possibly know that?
Jeez, I felt the ground shake.
Well, I don't know.
There's people out there now watching us, but they're not coming close. That was a really strange one. I mean, there was a lot of sensations. It was just kind of this, at first, this rushing water feeling. And it was almost like hearing the sound of rushing water above what the bedtime fan white noise thing would normally give you. And I decided that it was probably later on, probably the stream. I think the stream that ran through here was much larger at one time, quite a bit larger. But I could see this land like this green land rolling away, and this woman was walking along this slope, a gentle slope, and it was all grass, but there was still a couple of trees there, and she felt like she was gathering something, and I don't think it was stones. I think this was like nuts or something, like berries and nuts kind of thing. But then there was this sudden kind of explosion, and over the crest of this hill was her village. And you could hear the explosions in the village, which to me doesn't really make much sense logically. Like back in those days, I don't even know that we had anything that made explosions at that time. Like, I don't think there was armament or of any kind, cannons that would make explosions, but I don't know. But it was almost like the village was being attacked. And then there was this woman that, I don't know that it was the same woman, but this kid, they were running through the village, and the child stumbled right here next to her, and she stopped real quick and went and grabbed the child and tried to pull the child up, but as soon as she did, she got hit in the head. I'm assuming by a bullet or something that hit her like on this side of the head, and she fell. And then it was suddenly like after the village had stopped being attacked, and you could see really blue turquoise sky, but there was smoke rising up into the sky, and you could hear people crying all over the village. But then it was almost like this sudden feeling like there's nothing left for us here. We have to leave and find somewhere else to settle. And it almost seemed like at that point, that's maybe when they came here. Like that may have been what led up to them coming here. But very odd, very strange.
Of course, I always want to look at the skeptical side of this experiment that we're doing here, and naturally when we're in a place where we know the background of and stuff, our mind can probably put together some kind of a picture. The mind is a wonderful thing, but there's some things that seemed very interesting to me. And initially it was, Linda talked about this figure that was standing over my right shoulder. Now just before that, Will heard a noise, and he said, "Over your right shoulder." Then, just to see if this figure was indeed there and Linda was indeed picking up this figure, I asked, "Could you move around to my left side and stand right here?" Sure enough, she said, "He's walking around to your left side," immediately afterwards.
Oh, jeez.
I was talking about how Linda was describing the village story, and I didn't want to ask questions related to that because she was already talking about that. And if I asked questions related, people could just say, well, she was probably going to say that anyway because she was already talking about it. So I tried to ask questions about the quartz. And she kept talking about the village. But then a little later on, I was talking about what I did, and she immediately went from talking about this village to the purpose of the quartz. So those were two things that I definitely found interesting about this particular experiment. Jeff?
Linda?
Tanya?
And Will.
And we also have this little device down here that if you come near it, it may light up and let us know that you're here. Nothing serious is going to hurt you. Our intentions are good. We want to find out some information about you and see if there's anything we can do to help you. Could you tell us your name, please?
Thank you.
How many people are on this land?
Same voice.
Yeah.
I didn't understand at that time, though.
We do have the K2 meter going off. Shouldn't really be anything to set it off, other than the possible energy in the quartz.
Did you smoke tobacco? same voice.
It is. I didn't understand at that time, though. I mean, it's like it's speaking clearly. Maybe it's another language. Man, that thing is really spiking high. I don't understand why it would do that.
I don't either.
What is my name? Do you want us to be here? Stay?
Stay or go? It was definitely a great opportunity to be able to go out there and explore these possibly haunted woods. Were these actual burial mounds? We don't know for 100% sure, but it was definitely what they looked like. Our goal out there was to try to find out if there were spirits and what this land actually was. Now, we got a couple of interesting responses. Will actually analyzed the audio for this and sent me over a couple clips that I'm going to go ahead and share with you. Now, the first one was when we were doing our first spirit box session and we were by one of the possible burial mounds. And I asked, what tribe are you with? And we got a possible response that says either no or none. And I'm going to go ahead and play you that clip. What tribe are you with?
No.
The next possible response that we got was when I was trying to ask any possible entities that were there to go ahead and touch the REM pod. We got a voice that came across the spirit box and it sounds like it said, touch it. Could this have been one of the spirits trying to convince another spirit to go ahead and touch it? Or could it have been a spirit asking if it's okay to go ahead and touch it? Nonetheless, here's that clip right now.
Could you test that for us? Come near it, light it up. We can use that to communicate with you.
This next clip, we couldn't really determine what the voice was saying, but I'm going to present it to you so you can listen to it and see if maybe you can decipher what's coming through, or if you have any ideas. We'd definitely love to hear what you think. It was at a point when I was asking, can you tell me who disturbed this grave? And it sounded like a response came through, but we can't tell what it says. In this next clip, Linda's asking about the tribe, and a voice comes through that sounds like it says, behind you. And this was interesting because it could have just been with the natural feel of the woods, being out there in the dark and with the reports of the activity, and just an all-out eerie ambiance to that land. We felt like we were being watched through the course of the investigation. But it is interesting that this voice came across and says what we think is behind you.
We're Native Americans. What was the name of your tribe?
Now this next one is really interesting, and it's really my favorite type of evidence. It's an actual EVP that we captured while we were setting up the REM pod and setting up for another spirit box session. A voice came across the recorder that sounds like it said, good morning.
And I'm going to set the REM pod up.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the possible responses that we got through the spirit box. Now this was definitely an interesting investigation when you combine these responses with the fact that the REM pod lit up on several occasions, the proximity meter went off, and the K2 meter lit up quite a few times. Nothing out there really, aside from the quartz, that should have set this thing off. And it wasn't consistently going off, it was just here and there. We also experimented with the sensory deprivation, and definitely some interesting results from that. So all in all, these woods definitely seem like they could have something out there, something that's wanting to communicate, wanting to let us know what this land is, and perhaps if we could ever do a return investigation, we could get more answers. Is it sacred burial grounds to Native Americans, to settlers? We don't know, but the families that have lived in this house that is on these grounds definitely have had their share of experiences.